Welcome on the bold topics in series of Ambedkarism. Mahat Satyagraha was an important milestone in the political life of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. On March 20, 1927, Ambedkar and his followers took out a procession of Chavdar Pond located in Mahad in Kolaba district of Maharashtra. They were protesting against untouchability. Thousands of people called untouchables drank water from a public pond in Chavdar. Under the leadership of Ambedkar, first of all, Dr. Ambedkar drank water from a small bowl and the thousands of his followers imitated him and drank water. At that time, Ambedkar, while addressing the people present there, has said, "Have we come here because we do not get water to drink? Have we come here because we are thirsty for the water which is said to be tasty here? Absolutely not. We have come here so that we can assert our rights as human beings." This was a symbolic protest through which thousands of years old upper caste and feudal power was the challenge which was not ready to give the people at the lowest level of the social leader even the rights that even animals had. This had reaction from other castes. The upper caste people took revenge and went to the settlement of untouchables and created a great ruckus. In this recently punishment biography of Ambedkar apart the life and thousands of peer Ambedkar, Ashok Goyal writes, upper caste Hindu brutally beat up children, old people and women. There are also rumors that untouchables were planning to enter the Vireshwar temple in the. This had a hug reaction from other castes. The upper caste people took revenge and went to the settlement of untouchables and created a great ruckus. In his recently publishing biography of Ambedkar, apart the life and thousands of B.R. Ambedkar, Ashok Goyal writes, upper caste Hindu brutally beat up children, old people and women. There were also rumors that untouchables were planning to enter the Vireshwar temple in the city on March 21, 1927. A day after Ambedkar's protest, Orthodox Hindus purified the water of the Chavdar pond. Bhimrao Ambedkar's father was in the army and was posted in Koregaon. He invited Bhimrao, his brother and sisters, children to Koregaon to meet him, but the news could not reach them about which train he was coming to Koregaon by, so no one came to the station to receive him. The station master asked them who they were and where they wanted to go. As soon as he found out that they were all Mahars, he got angry and stood back. With great difficulty, a bullock cart was called. On the way, the bullock cart driver came to know during the conversation that they were all Mahars. Savitri Ambedkar writes in her book My Life with Dr. Ambedkar, the bullock cart driver immediately got them all down from the cart. By then it had become dark. When the children lured him with double the fear, he agreed to drive the cart. His condition was that the children would drive in the cart and he would walk behind them. It was summer and all the children were very thirsty, but no one gave them even water on the way. They all reached their father's house the next day in half-dead body. Another incident happened with Baba Saheb Ambedkar in Baroda, which shook him after getting education abroad. He got a job in Baroda secretary in January 1930 to avoid him from touching anything. Then peon used to give him files by throwing them from a distance. Nobody was ready to rent his house to him. Savitri Ambedkar says Baba Saheb took a Farsi name and started living in a Farsi hotel on a rent of ₹1.5 per day. On the 11th day, 10 to 12 goons carrying sticks come and stood outside his room on the first floor. They started abusing him for polluting the hotel. He left the hotel and took refuge with a Christian friend, but there too, as soon as people come to know about his caste, he had to leave that house and overnight quit his job in Baroda and came to Bombay. Many such incidents changes Baba Saheb's thinking towards caste. Vinayak Damodar Savarkar had given unconditional support to Ambedkar's Mahal Satyagraha. Dhananjay K. writes in Savarkar's biography, Savarkar and his times. At that time, he has said that untouchability should not only be condemned, but now the time has come to eradicate it as a religious order. This is not a question of policy or property, but issue of justice and service to humanity alike are also linked it. Savarkar declared that it was the sacred duty of every Hindu to protect the human rights of his followers. There is nothing more ridiculous and reprehensible than the ideas of puffing on self with the urine of an animal and become impure by the mere touch of a human being. But despite this, Ambedkar was disappointed by Savarkar's campaign for social reform. Ambedkar believed that if Savarkar was to achieve his goal of creating a Hindu nation, he would have to break the barrier between the untouchables and the rest of Hindu society, says Ashok Gopal, another author of the recently published book Apart Part, The Life and Thought of B.R. Ambedkar. Savarkar did do some work in this direction after being released from jail in January 1924 because he was allowed to do only non-political work in Ratnagiri district. He also started a campaign to follow untouchables to intertemple and for people of all castes to eat together by giving such examples. Savarkar's biography Dhananjay Keer has tried to tell that both Ambedkar and Savarkar were working to reform the Hindu society. Ashok Gopal further writes, Dhananjay Keer also mentioned Ambedkar's letter to Savarkar on February 18, 1933. This letter was written after a wealthy businessman but to Padil Pawan temple in Ratnagiri on Savarkar's initiative. Untouchables were allotted to worship in this temple. He invited Ambedkar to attend the inauguration ceremony of one such temple. Ambedkar did not attend the ceremony citing his busy schedule, but he told Savarkar, "But I want to press you on this occasion for starting a campaign to work for social reforms." But this is not the whole truth. The editorial written in the April 12, 1929 issue of The editorial written in the April 12, 1929 issue of Bahiskrit Bharat tells that Ambedkar had opposed the construction of Patit Pawan temple at the very beginning. He believed that later these temples would be called Temple of Untouchables. In this article published in Kesari from November 1930 to March 1931, Savarkar had made it clear that he opposed casteism but was not against the Chaturvarna system. Ambedkar was aware of this review of Savarkar. In a letter to Savarkar of 8 February 1933, he wrote, "It is unfortunate that you still advocate the name Chaturvarna as being based on merit. However, I hope that in the future you will have the courage to get rid of this unnecessary and mischievous jargon." Ashok Gopal writes that Savarkar did not express any intention to do so, and thereafter Ambedkar's interest in reform abode and wanted. But in the meantime, Ambedkar began to look with hope at the efforts of Bhai Paramanand, a Hindu Arya Samaj leader from Punjab. Like Savarkar, Paramanand was also imprisoned in the Andaman jail for allegedly planning a conspiracy to violently overthrow the British government in India. After being released from Andaman in 1920, Paramanand becomes the president of Jat Path Torak Mandal. In 1927, he changed its name to Hindu Samvad Mandal. Writing in the September 16, 1927 issue of Bahaskriti Bharat, Ambedkar described Mandal as a healthy alternative to the Hindu Mahasabha. Ashok Gopal believes Ambedkar probably had no idea that Bhai Permanent had named the Jat Pat Torak Mandal as Hindu Communist Mandal because the Arya Samaj of Lahore were not comfortable with the name Jat Pat Torak Mandal. He wanted a name that would justify the Chature Varna system. Later, Ambedkar also became disillusioned with the caste breaking board. In December 1935, this organization invited Ambedkar to deliver the presidential address at its annual conference in Lahore. When Ambedkar sent a copy of his speech there, they asked him to make some changes in it, which Ambedkar refused. After a long correspondence, they cancelled the conference. Ambedkar later published this speech himself in his book Annihilation of Caste. Ambedkar believed that before Swaraj is achieved, it is necessary to create a caste-less system in Hindu society. At one place, he wrote, "There is no benefit in such Swaraj which you cannot protect. In my opinion, only when Hindu society becomes caste-less will it have the strength to protect itself." At that time, organizations like Hindu Mahasabha were also talking about strengthening the Hindu society. Their formula of increasing the number of Hindus and reducing the number of Muslims was the purification of those people whose ancestors had converted to Islam for some reason. Ambedkar wrote in an issue of Telugu Samachar, "If Hindu society wants to survive, it should focus on increasing its unity rather than in increasing its numbers. This simply means the abolition of caste. If Hindu society is organized by abolishing caste, there will be no need for purification." Baba Saheb Ambedkar had said long ago, "We want to unite to equality in society and we want to get this right by staying in the Hindu society as far as possible. If necessary, we will not hesitate to break away from Hinduism. If we leave Hinduism, we will not have any interest in going to temple." Ambedkar and Savarkar had different views on issues related to Hinduism. When Ambedkar said that he would have no hesitation in leaving Hinduism, he did not make it clear that he was thinking of adopting Buddhism. Savarkar wrote a detailed article on this subject in the November 3, 1935 issue of Nirbidh Question Ambedkar's desire to leave Hinduism. Savarkar wrote that Hinduism also has some elements of irrationality like even organized religion, but this kind of irrationality is found in other religions as well. He had appealed to Ambedkar that he should use his intellectual knowledge and influence to try to reform the Hindu religion while remaining with it. If you have a problem with untouchability, then the patience for 10 years. During this time, this problem will be eradicated from its root. Ambedkar had answered this by saying that untouchability will remain in Hindu society even after 100 years. In September 1929, Ambedkar planned to visit Savarkar's hometown Ratnagiri in connection with a case. Savarkar invited him to give a speech at the Vitthal temple on behalf of the citizen on the city. Ambedkar agreed to this, but the last moment he received a telegraph due to visit because necessary for him to go to Bombay. He had to cancel his trip to Ratnagiri, and thus the city lost the opportunity to see Ambedkar and Savarkar sitting on one platform. Ambedkar had made it clear in one of his speeches that he had no intention of remaining in Hinduism. He said, "It has been my misfortune that I was born with the stigma of being an untouchable Hindu, which was not in my hands. But still, I can change this humiliating situation and improve my condition. I have no doubt that I will be able to do this. Let me make it clear that I will not die as a person who calls himself a Hindu." The first comment on this statements of Ambedkar came from Mahatma Gandhi Bapu, who said in an interview to the news agency Associated Press, "This statement of Dr. Ambedkar is not trustworthy." Hindu Mahasabha leader Balkrishna Munje and Congress leader Dr. Rajendra Prasad said that conversions could have serious consequences. Savarkar said that untouchability will end within 10 years and not more than 10 out of 1 lakh untouchables and 1,000 Mahars will follow Ambedkar in changing religion. But the truth is that Ambedkar is right. After 100 years, untouchability is not end. Savarkar's argument was that no religion stands up to rationalism. If Ambedkar wants to promote rationalism, then he should open a logical institution.